Hello and welcome to episode 6 on our Rags to Riches series. If you've been following along, you know we started out with $100 and nothing else. So far we've worked a bunch of contracts, bought our first piece of land, and got our little base of operations going here with somewhere to sleep, somewhere to store some equipment, and a silo. And then we did more and more contracts. We're up $75,903, but that ain't nearly enough. So you guessed it, more contracts. But don't worry, the last one I know got a little long-winded, so I'm thinking a contract montage. I'm just going to start doing contracts, knocking them out until we got enough money to move on to the next stage of my plan. Stick around. Hope you enjoy it. Now to start it off, we picked up 3 contracts. We have a bale wrapping, a harvesting field 23, and a harvesting field 65. I'm going to get this wrapper carried over to where we're headed. First, I got to try out this ferry. I have not used it yet. And it turns out it looks pretty cool. It is slow and apparently a very bumpy ride. But it's hard to deny it looks really cool. So I was glad to finally give it a try out. And we're off. First I got our workers set up on our harvesting contracts, both cotton and spinach. Made sure they were doing their thing while I got to work wrapping some bales. And it wasn't long till we were finished with the first contract of the day, so we'll go ahead and collect that and get our cash going. Then we took on a soybean harvesting contract, and that's where I learned to keep your eyes on the road and not on HQ, as you admire it going by. But we got him set up, got him started. Then it was just a matter of collecting, and delivering. And this goes on and on. Fill it up. And you take it and dump it. Over and over. But we are starting to finish out some of these contracts and collecting that money. It's nice to watch that money rise and rise. But there's still plenty more carting, still harvesting, and dumping. Then we take on a rock collecting contract. I learned the importance of not trying to speed things up by carrying loads improperly. Well, we got it straightened out. We got a worker on that field. And they just keep on harvesting. As we keep adding more contracts. Cultivating. And then there was just a few hours of just, harvesting. Filling trailers, taking them where they belong. When we get them done, we collect them up, get that cash, and find some more contracts. Now once this stone collecting contract was up, I loaded up and I took it and dumped it. They let you keep your money. I even did a wood transport contract. Definitely not my favorite contract. I'm very clumsy with this crane, and man, it seems to take forever. But eventually we got it. Eventually we got it. Alright, loaded up, perfectly loaded, strapped down, We hardly lost any on the way. Okay, only one, but it wasn't too bad. We got these logs delivered and collected that cash once again as we watch our money climb, climb, climb. But the contracting fund did not stop there. We ended up finding ourselves several cultivating contracts. Now, these contracts, they actually pay pretty good. Nothing too hard at all. Just finish one field and move on to the next one. It's about this point where I decided I was spending way too much hiring workers. So I ended up doing most of this myself. I think the last $40,000 or $50,000 that we made, we spent about 10 grand of that to workers, which does speed things up. Kind of defeats what we're going for here, though. Now, once we got done with both those cultivating contracts, collected all that cash, now we're up to 132K. Not many good contracts left. It's getting late in the day. So we decided it was time to say goodbye to November, take a nap, see what December will bring us. Now, as we wake up on a chilly December morning, we always take a quick look at the used vehicle sale to see if there's anything that tickles our fancy. And unfortunately, nothing this morning. So let's step on outside, take a look around at the beautiful scenery, and find us some more contracts. And it looks like once again our cultivating contracts are going to be the payers of the morning. So it means we're going to take them on. Like always, we borrowed the equipment for one and we're just going to use it for another. Save us a little bit of leasing fee. And it's just a little FYI, if you're pulling a big piece of equipment, don't bring it down this little road unless you turn off traffic, because it was a fight from start to finish on this little bitty road. Once we finally made it to the field, there was nothing to do but to get at it. Unfold that cultivator and take off. Now, I really enjoy driving this case tractor here. I usually don't like a pivoting tractor, but on this type of work, plus with our GPS driving we can use now, I'm kind of thinking maybe I like the pivot tractors at least more than I did in Farm Sim 22. But all I do is just knock out that field and move on to this next one here. As you can tell, it does not take long at all. That's a lie. I've got hours into this gameplay, but you ain't gotta watch all that. You're welcome. Then for most of December, there wasn't much to do but speed up time, watch clouds roll by, and then check out the used vehicles. Just did find this cool little Fiat. I like the looks of it. Not quite sure we're ready for it yet, or if it's even what we want. But then it was a matter of just waiting and hoping some new contracts would pop up. Which eventually they did. And guess what? Cultivating. I mean, what else you gonna do in December, right? Anyway, it gives a good chance to make some decent money, drive some cool tractors. Making money and driving new equipment. It's kind of fun. We really need to get this cash up. And we do. By cultivating field after field and just enjoying the scenery around us. And they did a good job on the lighting effects. As we knock out yet another cultivating field, we move on to the next one. And look at here. This one is right by HQ. And I kind of did this one by design. I've been wanting to expand our operations. So why not expand to the best field right in front of our building? We don't have the equipment to fully, well, frankly, do anything yet, so we might as well get paid to get this field cultivated and prepped. So we'll hold off buying it just a little bit. But I do believe that will be the next step. The rest of December was pretty uneventful. Just a few more cultivating contracts on fields 33 and 32. Then it was time to take a little winter's nap and see what good fortune January brings us. And guess what? More cultivating. But hey, we get to have some fun in this 8RT from John Deere. That's exciting, right? And look, we're cultivating right next to our base. Looking good. Now I would like to have this field in the future as well, so it can't hurt to do some work on it. And it turns out that was all the contracts we could get in January. So as the sun gets low, let's take a look at the beauty and head on for another nap. And with February comes the snow. We do a quick check of our used vehicles. It's neat stuff, but nothing we need. We realize there's not many contracts yet, so let's just hope we can find something to do with our time. Other than just looking around. So it turns out February was a bust, so I have a feeling March is going to get pretty good. The snow's gone. Surely there's some work to be done. Let's check our used sales and nothing. Alright, let's see what kind of contracts we can get into. And it looks like we got a couple of very good paying weeding contracts. Well, decent anyway. The only thing odd about it, it seems a little early. I don't see any weeds in these fields. The only thing I can think of is I do have the Better Contracts mod downloaded. I have most things set to the base game because I didn't want to make this too easy on myself. But the only thing I got going is you can update mods sooner than having to wait. I believe it's the 6 minutes before contracts pop back up. And I'm also using the the discount buying, like what we had in Farm Sim 22. So if you do a lot of contracts for landowners, then you get to purchase from them at a discount. Now I have that turned as low as it'll go. I believe it's a 5% discount per contract with the landowner, with a maximum of 5. So the most we can get is a 25% discount. I don't know. I like the thought of it, but I didn't want to crank it way up and make it way too easy on ourselves. So maybe that's why there's nothing growing in these fields, but we got weeding contracts. Either way, we will take it. We also found this little fertilizing contract. Not a lot of money, but hey, we got to keep that money going, right? So I set the fertilizing contract up on a worker, and I got back to my weeding contract. It wasn't until a little bit later I noticed the progression bar was not going up. Well, it turns out if you're like me and you run the double application fertilizer mod, if you have that turned on, progress does not go up. So once I turned that off, it started going up. So that's just something to think about if you run that mod and you want to run a worker on a field. The next contract that we could find was a bell wrapping contract. It's paying pretty good. And as we is nearing the last bell, I noticed we are sitting at $199,000. Now my goal starting for this session here, gameplay, was to hit 200k so we can get some better things rolling as far as our farm is concerned. So with that last bell dropped, we collect our money, which brings us to over $200,000. So with that, I believe we're going to end episode 6 after many contracts and setting at $206,000. Now all that's left to do now is to head back to our farm and get ready for episode 7. Stick around, because the fun is finally going to begin.